Hey everybody, this is Tom at DLD Drum School and welcome back. In this video, we are going to look at this idea, really simple and a really useful idea of just transitioning, alternating between playing with the right hand on the hi-hat and transitioning to the right hand on the ride cymbal. So let me just give you a quick demonstration of what it is that we're aiming for. 4 bars on the hi-hat, 4 bars on the ride, and I'm going to use the crash as our transition. So it's a really simple and effective way of adding variety to our drumming. So let's break this down. Right hand on the hi-hat, right hand on the ride cymbal. We're still at this stage going to use our first 4 most common drum rhythms that we've covered in previous videos. Rhythms 1, 2, 3 and 4. I'm going to focus mostly on rhythm 2 because it's our most common and versatile rhythm. And what is the point of this alternation between hi-hats and rides? It's simply about variety. It's about adding some variety, and it's about golden rule number 3, which is to make sure that what we do fits in, keeps our drumming interesting. Now, there's all sorts of different applications for this sort of situation, depending on making sure your drumming fits in. But the main thing we're going to focus on for today's video is the idea that, as a general rule, always use your own judgment. We're going to go on the hi-hat for the verse of a song when you're playing to your favorite backing tracks, and we're going to transition to the ride cymbal for the chorus or the solo bridging elements of a song. So how do we transition from the hi-hat to the ride cymbal and back again? And what we're going to do, as I did in that demonstration, we're going to transition through the crash cymbal. Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 possible ideas of how to transition. In our previous video, we talked about what we call the crash and snare technique. And if you haven't looked at that video yet, there's a link on the screen here telling you which one to reference. I would suggest that you go back and learn that technique first of all. It will really, really help you when you come back to this video here, because we're using the same crash and snare technique for our transitions between these 2. All we're going to do basically is use the crash and snare technique to transition across from one side and back to the other. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to break this down and show you rhythm 2. I'll just do this for 2 bars, and then I'm going to use crash and snare into the other side of the drum kit on the ride, carrying on with the same rhythm. But I'll just do 1 bar. So nice and slow. 1 bar of rhythm 2. Now I want to transition across to the ride, so I'm going to go crash and snare. And once I've gone crash and snare, I just finish the bar. Crash and snare and bass, bass, snare and. So it's basically 1 rhythm here, crash and snare to the other side, and then finish off the bar. Let me put that together slowly with a gap. Come across, crash and snare and bass, bass, snare and. Now let's put that together without the gap. So a very common question is, which crash cymbal should we use if you're lucky enough to have 2 different crash cymbals? And my simple advice, there's basically 2 answers to this question. And for the purpose of this video, we're going to go with the first answer, which is use the one which is closest to where you're going to. So if I'm on the hi-hat and I'm going to the ride, I'm going to use this one, so it's a nice easy drop down to the ride. If I'm on the ride doing in reverse, I'm going to use this one and drop down to the hi-hat. Okay, That's if you have the luxury of having two crash cymbals. Obviously, if you just have the one here, then you use the same crash cymbal for each. It's just as comfortable. It just means you have a little bit more distance to cover as you loop across to that right cymbal. Now, the second part of deciding which one to use is, from a musical point of view, which one sounds best. Usually, these two cymbals would have a different tone and a different sound for different situations. So from a musical point of view, purely from the sound, which one do you think is going to sound best and fit into the particular section of music? So we've transitioned from the hi-hat to the ride using the crash and snare to the ride. Exactly the same in reverse using this one. Bass and snare and bass, snare. And that is it. Alternating between ride cymbals and hi-hats using a crash cymbal as a transition. It's a really, really simple and effective way to add some variety and some musical interpretation to your performances so that it's not just the same thing sort of all the way through. So how do we go ahead and get used to this? It's the same approach as always. First of all, switch into practice mode. Just practice on your own, alternating these transitions forwards and backwards. Make loads of mistakes. It's the best way to learn. Because we're in practice mode, the only thing that matters is accuracy. Don't worry about speed. If ever you're not sure about what speed to go, always go slower, because it's all about training your brain so that you get used to these techniques and develop the accuracy, develop the quality. Once you're comfortable in practice mode and you can do this, then go ahead and put it to the test. Start to play with metronomes, or as always, start to play with your favorite backing tracks, or use the backing tracks that we have in the links below to get you going straight away, and just have a go. Again, first of all, maybe go overkill, just get used to it. As you then shape and hone down your performance, focus on golden rule number 3, which is to make sure that your drumming fits in. So don't overdo it. Listen to your ears, use your own judgment, and use these transitions as appropriate. Just as a reminder, if ever you're not sure, simple rule: hi-hats for the verse of a song, ride cymbals for the chorus of a song. You cannot go wrong. It works really well every single time. So that's the end of this video. You should be able to have lots of fun, and that will really help to make your drumming further come alive and add further expression to your performances. So remember, keep on practicing, keep on enjoying your music, keep on drumming, and remember, everything you do, do it like a drummer. We'll see you in the next video.